everyone, welcome back to ErikaBuilds and another Sims 4 speed build. Today we are in Newcrest working on a modern home that is based off of a photo that I found online. And if you follow me on Instagram, you might have noticed yesterday that I posted a work in progress pic and I asked you guys to help me decide who would live in this house, because the house is definitely not a traditional family home. It has sort of a city vibe to it, and so I was thinking, maybe it would be fun to build this house for out of my usual family home sort of theme, and see what kind of ideas that you guys could come up with. And so the overwhelming majority of people, and first of all, thank you so much for all the comments. I was not expecting to have so many people weigh in on their opinion, so that was great. But it seems the last time I checked, the overwhelming majority had chosen this house for a couple without children. There were a few people that mentioned they thought it would be nice for maybe a new family where they had just a baby or a toddler. So I did make a second bedroom as a guest room that could be turned into a child's room if you need it to be. But the main focus of this house is for a young couple without children. So I had a lot of space to work with because this house is very large. And so without children's bedrooms and children's toys and activities to take up the space, I had to get pretty creative with how I was going to furnish this huge house. So you can see here, I'm still working on the exterior, which actually took quite a while because the reference photo that I was using had a lot of interesting details. I think that's what really grabbed my eye with this picture online, was the interesting details of the house itself. The shape was very, very boxy and square, but it did have these sort of overhangs on the sides that I thought were interesting. And of course, this carport in the front, which I thought was interesting. This house kind of gives me a vibe of Miami. You know how all the buildings in Miami, well, not all, but a lot of buildings in Miami are white or very light colored and very boxy. Almost sort of that, what's that word? It's Art Deco, but this is definitely more of a modern build, but it just kind of reminded me of that. And there is a reference picture here of the photo that I found online. And as you can see, I was really trying as hard as I could to stick to the reference photo closely. I will be the first person to admit that I am not that good with modern builds or modern interiors. I've been working really hard to try to improve on those. But definitely family homes and country interiors are more my forte. So this was a little bit challenging, but it was really fun. I really liked trying to replicate the shapes and just the layout of the exterior. It was really fun. That sort of funky roof, I did not know how I was going to make it work, but basically I didn't have any photos or floor plans of the interior, but basically the whole top part of the house had no windows. And I'm okay, so that's obviously not living space. It must be a super, super tall ceiling. And so what I ended up doing is I put a third floor on the house, and then I just removed the floor so that the second floor has this huge ceiling, a 2-story interior, which seems like a huge waste of space. But like I said, since everyone had wanted this house to be used for a couple, I thought, well, here's a good way to waste space. I'll just make the entire third floor empty. So that was helpful. And I think it gave the interior a very dramatic look to it. And in fact, several people in the comments had mentioned they thought this would be a wealthy couple. And so I was kind of inspired by that to think, okay, if they don't have any kids and they're super wealthy, they probably don't mind that their house has a lot of wasted space and a third floor that's just a giant ceiling. So that'll be okay. That'll work. So yeah, the house is mostly white except for some gray along the front facade. There's some gray there over the right side windows, and then there was some gray wooden boards on the left side, which you'll see me add back in a minute. I had a heck of a time replicating that upstairs patio because it's like we have all these half wall sizes, which are great, but they just didn't have the half wall size that I really wanted. And so I had to get really creative with that, and I couldn't fence it. So I had to use these wall dividers. Those dividers are actually from Dine Out. But it finally worked in the end. It was stressful, but it finally worked out in the end. And then there for the carport, I just took one of the new cars that we got in the debug, which I love because we don't have to blow up those giant toy cars anymore. And these look so much better. Even though we can't drive, at least we now have decent looking cars in the driveway. So right now, what I'm basically doing is just completely copying every element of the photo so that I can take some screenshots to use on Instagram. So that's why I pulled out those 2 chairs and the car and stuff, because that was taken directly from the reference. And then I started looking at the inside of this like cavernous home, trying to figure out what in the world I'm gonna do. But basically I thought, okay, I've got this gigantic, huge living space with this huge ceiling. So it was a good opportunity to use these new windows that we got in the Moschino stuff pack. I hadn't been able to use those big half circle arches yet, so I had fun using those. Even though those windows are more of an industrial look, I think it goes okay with this modern build, just because, like, especially when you think about Miami, you know, a lot of those modern buildings, like I said before, are like an Art Deco, so they are kind of old. So I think it works okay. And then for the straight, like, slat windows, those are actually from Island Adventure, because I really like those, the size of those better than like the base game ones that we've been using forever. Okay, now here you see me working on this idea that I had for these skylights, and I'm just gonna admit right now, I was totally making this up as I went along. I didn't know what the heck I was doing because I don't know how to make skylights. And I'm like, okay, I need a hole in the roof, and then I need another roof, and then I need some glass, and then I gotta demolish all these fences, and I don't know. But it ended up turning out and it worked in the end. So yay, I have 3 skylights, which I think is really nice because it lets all this natural light into this huge, gigantic living room. And like I said before, with killing so much space with that 3rd story, I thought the natural light, even there in the building, you can see like how those 3 skylights leave this really nice natural light in the living room, which is great. And then I noticed that it wasn't centered, so I had to kind of cheat there a little bit and add some more windows to space it out so it would be even. So now I'm starting to look at floor planning, and even though everybody wanted this just to be for a couple, I still wanted there to be a 2nd bedroom. They could use it as a guest room, or if they have a baby one day, or if they have somebody that needs to come and spend the night. I don't know. I just feel like they needed a 2nd bedroom. So I put that upstairs, and I ended up doing the interior of it just kind of as a bedroom that went along with the rest of the house. So it's not a child's room or anything. It's just a regular bedroom. And then downstairs is the master bedroom and the kitchen and dining room. So it's a little bit strange because I don't usually do a 2nd story living room. Usually my living room and kitchen and dining room would all be on the 1st floor. But with those huge windows and that elevated, tall ceiling upstairs, I felt like that obviously had to be the living room. I mean, it was just too perfect to be used for anything else. And so that gave me plenty of room down here to do a large kitchen and dining room area, and then the master. You can see there I was playing around with putting an office right there in front of the carport, but it felt a little cramped, and I knew I had tons of room upstairs, so I decided to put the office upstairs so that the master bedroom could have more space. And then here you see I'm constantly like changing my mind about where to put the bathroom upstairs. And of course, since this was a 2-story second floor, every time I changed a wall on the second story, I had to change it on the third story so that it would match. Because when you open up the house and you look down in through the inside, obviously I want all the walls to go all the way from the second story all the way to the roof line. I don't want to see, cutouts of like different rooms overlapping each other. So I made sure that all worked okay. And of course those walls couldn't intersect the skylights or anything like that. So yeah, it took some tweaking. I played around with making a patio upstairs. I kept trying a bunch of different doors you can see there, but I don't know. I just didn't like it. It just didn't feel right to me. So I just made it an unusable like roof area. So looking here now, you can see where I am getting rid of that office and I'm turning that into the master bathroom. And I'm gonna start thinking about, I think the next thing, and then I had to do more windows because I had no idea what the sides of this house look like, except for the left side. I could kind of see a little bit of it in the reference photo. So I tried to just use the same sort of design on the right side as I did on the left side. And so I made those little overhangs, which I think are really cute. I don't think I've ever built anything like that before. So that was kind of fun. And then for the windows, I just stuck with the same sort of theme with using a mixture of those Island Adventure windows with the Moschino windows until it just looked like it made sense. Okay, so now I'm back on the inside and I'm starting in the kitchen and dining area. I had a really large dining room here, so I used a full-size dining room set, and then with the kitchen I added a bar in between the two, so it's still open, but there is a little bit of a separation there. And then as you can see, upstairs is where I moved the desk. So the office and the living room are on the second story. So then I decided to raise the house. I was thinking about leaving it flat, but then I don't know, when I got to the backyard, I just didn't think it looked good flat. And so I changed my mind and decided to raise it. But then of course I had to raise the terrain in front of the carport, or there was going to be an edge. So that was kind of a pain. So it made me kind of wish that I would have done it from the beginning, because if I would have raised the house up from the beginning, I could have separated the carport and had it flat. The only bad thing about that was I wouldn't have been able to connect the two foundations, but it still would have been better than having like an edge there. Anyway, it worked out fine in the end. I just raised the terrain and flattened it out and it was fine. Okay. So now we're back inside in the kitchen again, and for the cabinets I'm using Spa Day. The dining room set is from City Living, and then here in the entryway I'm just adding all my usual things like a mirror and a coat rack and a umbrella stand and a thermometer, a thermostat. All the usual stuff that I add. And then upstairs, this is kind of just what I call my placeholder furniture, where I'm going through and I'm kind of putting down some pieces that I know I want to use. And I'm not really going like one room at a time, because I'm in a house, especially like this, where it's so open and large. I need to get a really good like overall view of it in my mind before I really get into the detailed interior work. Otherwise, like, it's just too difficult for me. Because like I said, I don't do a ton of modern. I mean, I've done more lately than I used to do, but I still don't really feel that confident. And so it requires like taking my time to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. And the light over the dining room table is also from the new Moschino stuff pack. For the flooring, you can see I chose some tile from Spa Day. I played around with some different hardwood, but this particular house, I think just because it was so white on the exterior with so much concrete work that I didn't really feel like the wood flooring was a good match. It felt more like the type of house that would have tile flooring, and so that was my thought process with that. And then instead of a hutch, I went with a wine rack, because again, the whole time I'm building this, I'm thinking about this couple that doesn't have any kids and they're wealthy, and you know, this is all thanks to you guys, so thank you for your help with imagining this family. So yeah, they have extravagant taste, I think, in the art that they choose and the decor and stuff, and of course I'm changing all the lighting to white because, as I've said before, anytime I'm doing black and white interiors, I cannot stand that yellow lighting, so I have to always change it to white, which makes it look so much better. This is a pretty large kitchen. It has plenty of space for, you know, anything and everything that you could want to put in here. I went with pretty much just my normal, you know, modern kitchen decor. And I did put a rug down just because I felt like, you know, it's such a big floor space that it really needed a rug. But if you don't like that, you could definitely put an island there. There's definitely plenty of room for it. Since I already had the bar and the bar stools, I just kind of felt like an island might be overkill. And again, with this house not being a family home with kids and stuff, I kind of felt like the island wouldn't really be necessary. So that's why I just put that big rug down. But yeah, so a lot of this stuff is from Cool Kitchen stuff, the appliances and a lot of the decor. And then I added that brick backsplash just because I felt like the paint, I really don't like using paint in kitchens because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like kitchens have to have like tile or brick or something. And so I put that on the back, and then the fridge is kind of over here by the back door with some cabinetry around it. So I think that worked out pretty well. And then that door, that sliding door with the grids, that's also from Moschino Stuff Pack. And then I ended up giving them a dog. You know, I was thinking, okay, they don't have any kids, but maybe they have like a fur baby, right? So maybe they're a young couple, and since they don't feel like maybe they're ready for a family, they're ready for a dog. So I gave them stuff for a dog. There's a food dish in the kitchen, and then there's a dog bed in the master bedroom, and of course there's a bathtub in there as well for bathing. So yeah, there is a doggy in this family. And there I'm just adding a dish towel over the dish drying rack and kind of finishing up this kitchen. I would say that this interior is pretty minimalistic. I didn't really clutter it up a ton because I think this house is very clean, and you know, it just wouldn't seem, and you know, you don't have kids and stuff kind of making a mess. So I kind of feel like these are young professionals. Maybe they both work. Maybe nobody's really home during the day. And so, yeah, it felt to me like the house would be pretty clean. Under the stair area, I just added like a little bookcase and a little a seat, just because it was a naked area that was bothering me and I didn't like it. And then next I worked on the master bedroom. And so for this bedroom, again, I'm thinking of this couple and sort of what their taste might be, and I'm sticking again with mostly black and white. And so I used a mixture of quite a few different packs. This bed, I believe, is either Base Game or City Living. I don't know. It's old. I can't remember where it came from, but it's not new. And I stuck with the same Spa Day flooring. And then for the furniture in here, it's a mixture. The end tables, the bedside tables are from Moschino Stuff Pack, so is the rug. And then the dresser and the chest are from Vintage Glamour Stuff. The ceiling fan, I still have mixed feelings about because I don't really like this color, but I love the fan itself. I just wish this fan came in like black or white or gray. I would be so happy. So I'm putting that wish out into the universe. Please, can we have this fan in like a monochrome like color? Because I love it. It's super sleek and modern. I feel like it's perfect for this house. I just don't like any of the wood patterns that it came in. But because I really wanted to use it, I went ahead and did in the very light wood because I thought that would match the best. And then I decided to give them a fireplace. I thought that would be really cozy, especially with these cold tile floors. I'm sure that would feel good. And a TV over it. I wish Sims could lay in bed and watch TV, don't you? I always think that every time I put a TV in a bedroom, but of course they can't. Usually they'll just, I don't know about your Sims, but usually mine will just stand in the middle of the bedroom and watch TV. It's so weird. I don't know. They don't even like sit on the bed. But anyway, that's just one of those Sim things. And then over here, I'm just adding a bunch of makeup and clutter and stuff to the chest of drawers. So yeah, over here on this wall, it was looking kind of naked. So I gave them a bookshelf and I kind of cluttered it up a little bit with some books and things. And I don't know, like I don't really decorate with white walls very often. In fact, like never. And so every time I looked at these rooms, I was like, oh, these white walls are so plain. I can't take it. But I mean, I understand that it matches the house, you know, it matches the theme. And so I went ahead and kept with the white walls, but then I just added a lot of stuff to them to kind of cover them up. So I put some mirrors there on either side of the bed, which I think helped. And then for the master bathroom, it was really, really big. So I knew I wanted to use a big corner tub. And for the tile, I kept with the same spa day, just in a different pattern. So, yeah, it's kind of funny how the bathroom's like right in front of the carport, but you know, it's fine. It's The Sims. No one cares if they see you taking a bath, right? You can, but so there's a lot of windows here in the front of the house that look directly into the bathroom. But it, you know, it works out. And so I also gave them a shower in here, and I did add some blinds over the windows. So maybe it's not full total exposure of your bath, but still I think it turned out cute. And the tub is from Get Famous. I believe the shower is also from Get Famous. And then the toilet is from Spa Day. And I think that sink is Base Game. So yeah, just a combination. Oh, and that mirror is from Vintage Glamour stuff. So yeah, a combination of a lot of stuff, but still just sticking with the black and white. And then I added a white rug at the end. Those blinds are from My First Pet stuff. It's so funny because on Instagram, anytime I use anything from My First Pet stuff, it doesn't matter if it's the blinds or that little sofa that I like to use. Inevitably, every single time I'll get a comment that says, I've never seen that before. What pack is that from? Is that CC? I'm like, no, it really is from the game. It's from My First Pet stuff, but I don't think anybody has that pack. And so they never know where the thing has come from. So anyway, next time stuff packs are marked down like 80% off or something, I really think it's worth getting My First Pet stuff just for that little sofa, those blinds, which are like my favorite ones to use. And there's also those stringed lights that I love that are all in that. Or no, that's in toddler stuff, isn't it? I don't know. There's some good stuff in My First Pet stuff. So if it's ever like super duper on sale, I say go for it. I think it's really worth it just for the few like good decor things that are in it. So anyway, that's my protection of My First Pet stuff pack. Yeah, so I'm back outside working on the yard, and they don't really have a yard. And I think that fits the personality of this family because with them both working and not having any kids, I just feel like probably the less grass they have to mow, the better. Or maybe they have somebody that mows their grass for them. If they're wealthy, they probably don't even mow their own grass. So yeah, it's mostly tiled around like the pool and the front porch and stuff. And now I'm up here working on the second floor, which is the living room. Of course, I had to give them a bar because, you know, no kids, you gotta have a bar in the living room, no doubt about that. And they probably do a lot of entertaining up here, and they have a lot of friends over. All of this stuff up here, well, in the little living area corner, that's mostly all Moschino stuff pack. And then the bar itself is from Get Famous. And then over here in the little office corner, I used that new desk and chair that we got like a couple of patch updates ago, mixed with the bookshelf from Moschino Stuff Pack. So yeah, it's a pretty cute little office. And then I decided to divide it off with a little bit of glass. It didn't work to do glass all the way to the ceiling because it wasn't the right height. So I just did 2 panes of glass, but I think it gives a nice separation between the living room and the office without having to like completely wall it off. And then I had this empty corner over here that I played around with a few different kinds of plants, and I really couldn't find one that I liked. And so I ended up putting an easel there, which is a nice activity for adult Sims. So maybe one of them likes to paint. And then that picture hanging over the little ottoman seat there is also from Get Famous. And yeah, I'm just adding some more books and things. I love that little pig that we got last January with Lunar New Year. So I put that over there, and I'm just cluttering up the desk and stuff. Oh, and I forgot to mention that artwork on the left-hand side with the 4 pictures together, that's also from Moschino Stuff Pack. And it comes in a lot of really cool swatches. I actually used it like 3 or 4 times in this house, and that's the nice thing about it because it comes in so many different styles. You can use it over and over and it doesn't look like the same one. Yeah, so coming out through here, I then had this huge empty space in front of these windows. I didn't really know what to do. So I gave them a grand piano because I thought, heck, why not? That makes sense. You know, maybe one of them likes to play the piano, and that kind of goes with this whole theme of like entertaining. So they've got their like nice little living room and their bar and their piano. So maybe when they have dinner parties, they like play music and have cocktails. And I don't know, it just seemed very grown up to me. Maybe that's just, I'm living vicariously. This is where I wish I lived, because I would love to have a grand piano. I just have a very old, cruddy, upright piano. So here's the second bedroom, which, like I said, could be used for a child or a baby if you needed it to. But I've just decorated it as a plain guest room, keeping with the same style as the rest of the house. That polka dotted rug is so cute. That's from Moschino Stuff Pack, as is the artwork that I hung over the bed. And then over in these little nooks, I just tucked some closets from Get Famous, because they really fit perfectly in that corner. And I was thinking, maybe if this couple, like one of them loves clothes and has tons of clothes, they hang all the overflow of their extra clothes in the guest bedroom, because nobody can relate to that, right? Right? Or is it just me? I think I've taken over every closet in this house because I'm the one that has all the clothes. And so, yeah, I'm the one who's always just like putting my stuff everywhere. And so that's, I guess, was my inspiration for that closet. And there is a bathroom here as well, which again, I did in spa day tile with a mixture of packs, the same toilet as I use downstairs, which is from Spa Day, and then that big lighted mirror over the sink, which you can only really use when you do tall ceilings because it doesn't really fit on like a regular size ceiling. That's from Get Famous also. And that shower with the zebra print door is also from Get Famous. So yeah, it's kind of fashionable, posh bedroom and bathroom up here. And then over in the little bar area, I did put some wine bottles, but I didn't really put much. To me, it's just so odd to see all these white walls that I don't even know what to do with all of them. But I went out of my comfort zone and I tried something new. So hopefully you guys will like it. If you download this house and you want to do wallpaper and change the colors of the rooms and stuff, that's great. You know, I always say to people, feel free to change stuff that I build. You know, I don't want people to like re-upload them to the gallery though, because that's like kind of like, I don't know, kind of weird. But if you want to change it for your own game, please feel free to do anything that works for your family. I have no problem with that. Yeah, so I'm just finishing up the landscaping. It's pretty minimal, just some bushes and flowers and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you guys liked this build. Please let me know what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all again next time. Bye-bye.